we're here welcoming Martine Gibson. She is a therapeutic coach and based in Liverpool in the UK. So we might have some people watching this from around the world. At the moment, I'm sitting in Canada, snowy Canada, where I'm from. There's a lot of snow on the ground. It's been really lovely. And in the UK and the Netherlands, you're dealing with storms at the moment, Storm Eunice. But hopefully everyone's internet works well and that this recording goes well. Just to give you a little bit of background, my name is Joyce Bergsma. I'm a nutritional therapist and a functional medicine practitioner. And my YouTube channel is called The Happiness Hub. And this comes out of my work with people with mental health and more specifically women with anxiety. And women tend to suffer from anxiety twice as much as men. Although, you know, it could be that men don't admit it as much as women. They don't talk about it as much as women, and they don't tend to ask for help as much as women. But regardless, I do work mostly with women that suffer from anxiety. And when I came across Martine on LinkedIn, I was really excited because I saw what you were doing, Martine, with all your work, and now you are doing some work with the University of Liverpool, and I'd love to hear you tell in your own words, like give an introduction of yourself and what you do, and what makes you passionate.
So, as you quite rightly said, I'm a therapeutic coach and I specialize in anxiety, but not many people know what a therapeutic coach is, so it's best to always define that first so people understand. So I am a therapeutic counsellor, an integrative counsellor, and that means I can draw on different theories, so like CBT, psychodynamic, person-centered. I'm not just specialised in one. I've got access to them all, but I do have like a core theory that I work to, which is person-centered. And then I'm also a personal performance coach, or a life coach, as other people call it. And then in my practice, I also incorporate mindfulness and neuro-linguistic programming, otherwise known as NLP. So a therapeutic coach can go a lot deeper than your average coach and a lot wider than your average therapist. What makes me passionate is just empowerment. People, I really believe in people. I think people are absolutely amazing, and we can all achieve our goals and our dreams, and we've all got it in us. We've all got this magic in us, but we lose it as we get older. So I help people to battle through the fear, battle through the anxiety, battle through the blues, and come out the other side with a sense of control and being the best possible version of themselves. So people make me passionate.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I really think as well that people have so much strength deep inside them. And we go through life with these kind of filters on and these ideas about ourselves, stuff we've piled on either from our parents, our childhood, whatever we've been going through that makes us feel weak. But I think that there's so much deep inside. And if we can just access that, then we can really go far in life.
Absolutely, yeah. Tapping into the magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is the title of our conversation today, Finding Your Magic.
Yeah. You'll find it.
And so tell us a little bit about the type of work you do. Like I've done an NLP course before. I only use a little bit of it in my practice. And I've looked at hypnotherapy as well. But you have such a broad toolkit and I imagine that really adds, as you said, you go wide and you go deep.
Yeah. So I suppose I specialize in anxiety disorders, and I work really well with neurodivergent. So we're talking about people who may be on the autistic spectrum and who have ADHD. But when it comes to anxiety disorders, the type of work is that you generalized anxiety disorder, and then you've got OCD and PTSD. So they're the areas that I specialize in. But yeah, I suppose it's, for me, the way I see it is we are unique. We weren't made to fit in. we were made to stand out. And the reason why I chose to do what I do and to get a background and all those things was so that I could tailor my services to the people that come to me. Because when you go to a GP for anxiety, and 9 times out of 10 you're told, here's some medication, and then you get put on a waiting list for some CBT, because it's the only one at the moment that can be measured on paper, so they say. So there's a lot of statistics, and people like numbers and figures, but we're human beings, we're not numbers and figures, and we don't fit in to boxes. You know, we're round, we're supposed to blend and go around. So I created my service so a person can come to me and say, this is how I like to learn, these are the things I like to do, this is what I don't like to do, can you help me? And it's like, well, yeah, of course, because I've got this in my toolbox, I've got that in my toolbox, and I've got this here, and we can move this around, and we don't need to do that if you don't want to. Say, for instance, with CBT, there is some work to do at home. You do have to write, you do have to keep journals, but it's not for everybody. It's for some, but not for everybody. So that's the way I see my service. One size fits all.
Yeah, that's nice. And how really did you get into it? Because it's so interesting and so broad what you're doing.
Gosh, I suppose the start of my journey is, I think it was around, for the few years prior to 2013, I'd never been very confident as a young person. I was confident, but my self-esteem low. So there's a big difference there, which we'll go into later.
Yeah.
But I had lots of confidence, but my self-esteem was on the floor. And I remember having a conversation in a company that I used to work in. And the woman was saying about managers not taking up opportunities that were being given to them to become coaches and to do mindfulness and things like that. And I remember saying to her, I would bite your hand off for an opportunity like that. And 2 weeks later, she gave it to me. So it was fantastic. During those 2 programs, I literally found myself. I think I'd spent the best part of 20 years waiting for somebody to come and save me. And the person who I realized who I needed was me. I just needed to find me. So that journey enabled me to do that. And then I literally left that job, and I left with no money and no other job to go to. I just went to college half a day a week to retrain to become a therapeutic counsellor. And then it was doing counselling that made me think there's more. We need to do a little bit more. I felt like I was sitting on my hands all the time. Go a bit wider and a bit deeper. So I just incorporated the 2 of them, and then done NLP and brought in mindfulness. It came from experience. It was very authentic.
Yeah. And I like your story about the fact that you were confident but had low self-esteem. Often people get into work where they're helping other people because they've been helped themselves, right? And I have a sort of similar story where it wasn't that I thought I had a very good diet. And I was studying nutrition already because I was really interested in it. And, you know, I'm a foodie, and I really just wanted to help people. But then I realized I was going through a hugely stressful period, and I was seeing a psychologist, and I was seeing a hypnotherapist, and, you know, things just weren't moving. And so I finally decided to see one of the graduates from my nutrition course. And that was when things really shifted. And I realized by doing some testing how many issues were going on in my body, you know, and then I was finally able to shift it. And that was when I also was able to kind of really move forward and was really motivated to help other people in a new way, because I'd been helped myself. When you go through that experience, it's much stronger.
Yeah. And when you're passionate about it as well. And like, you know, like you've just said, you were seeing like a psychologist and you were seeing other types of people, but the thing that really worked for you was to look at your nutrition and the food you're eating and the impact that was having. So everybody's got their own that works for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I embrace as a person. So it's like, well, as a therapist, should I say, that's what I embrace, is the uniqueness of people and the different things that help people.
Yeah. And that's where I think we're also very aligned, because the functional medicine that I do, that is always looking at how individual we are, because
Yeah,
you can even have two people in the same family that have the same symptoms, but the reasons are totally different,
absolutely.
you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
their motivation for change is very different as well.
yeah.
Mm.
And that's it. It's embracing individuality and diversity, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
love it.
Yeah. And what you said about, you know, not making people, we're not meant to kind of fit in, we're meant to stand out. Can you say a little bit more about that? I just love that. That really
Yeah.
is
Well,
powerful.
when you think of the statistics of, let's say, me being born, me, it's 400 trillion or something to one. It means the fact that I'm me and I'm here, I'm meant to be, and I'm meant to be just exactly the way I am, because you can't get them odds anywhere else. So that shows me that you're meant to be, but you're meant to be exactly who you are. And there's just so many influences, external influences out there, where we are at some point made to feel like we should fit in, like we should behave in a certain way, like we should act in a certain way, like we should eat in a certain way, like we should speak in a certain way. And
Mm.
like, then we become samey. We all become the same. And that's not the way we were intended to be. We were intended to be just us, the way we
Yeah,
are. And it's about having the self-esteem and the confidence to embrace that.
yeah. And it's so much pressure when we're trying to fit in somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
There's so much pressure. I always call it compare and despair. And I always use social media as an example. So one of the biggest things I find with people with anxiety is the pressures of life and not having enough, or feeling and believing they don't have enough, or they're not living the way they should be. And social media is used a lot. And people always say, oh, social media is bad and blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's absolutely not. The way it's being used by some people can be unhealthy.
Mm.
Doesn't mean it's bad. So let's say, classic example, young girls of today in the 20s, late teens, 20s, and older, but they're on social media and they're looking at all these young females in the social media, you know, all these stars of all these reality shows and the Kardashians and things. And these young girls of today, they go on social media, and what they're going with is a big basket full of all their disappointments, full of all their flaws, and full of all the things that they don't like about.
Mm-hmm.
And they take them, they sit on social media and they compare all that stuff to everything they see on social media. And they don't keep in the forefront of the mind that those people on social media will only show what they want you to see. They will only show their best bits. But you're comparing their best bits with all your believed and perceived thoughts. You don't stand a chance there. So what you unconsciously are doing to yourself is chipping away at your self-esteem.
Yeah. So I guess this brings us nicely into the difference between confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah. So confidence is an attitude about your skills and abilities.
Okay.
So I am confident that I can walk into a room and give a talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am confident that I can go to a job as a personal assistant because I've done business admin for 20 years. You know, so that's the confidence. Confidence is walking into a room and you could be the loudest person there, but then when it comes to your self-esteem, it's a totally different thing, because self-esteem is how much value you place on yourself as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be the loudest person in the room, the most bubbliest person in the room, and everybody's just like, oh my God, I wish I was like them. But then that person could go home at the end of the night and look at themselves in the mirror and go, you fat, ugly mess. And I have
Yeah.
been that person.
Yeah.
been that person, and where you beat yourself up and you think everybody hates you, look at you, your hair's horrible, your skin's horrible, you're too fat, you're ugly, and that is literally how a lot of people talk to
Oh
themselves.
yeah. Yeah.
So they don't value themselves, but they're confident.
Mm-hmm.
The confidence can be sky high and you can have low self-esteem, or your self-esteem can be sky high and you can have low confidence, or you can have a balance. It all depends. We're all unique, but it happens. It's out there. But the self-esteem is the most important part. That is because that's how much you value yourself. That's your self-worth.
Yeah. And the confidence that you have in your skills, those are things you can build anyway. You can learn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Confidence is built by practice.
Yeah.
Practice, progress. And we are, as I say, as human beings, we are constant works in progress. We never stop evolving and growing, because when we get a goal and we hit it, we always want more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's human nature.
Yeah. Well, I've really loved that explanation that you gave, because when we first started talking about it, I was like, okay, I don't know exactly what she means. I have an idea, because we didn't talk in detail about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to ask you about it, because I would rather it be like a nice reveal to me as well when we were talking today. And I love it, especially because I totally recognize that in myself as well. And I would imagine that every single person can relate to what you just said. Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I did a course to try and stop doing the negative self-talk. And first of all, you had to recognize that you say it to yourself and catch yourself, and then you start to unravel it.
Yeah.
How do you approach building someone's self-esteem? Because doesn't this come from our childhood?
It does, and it does come from our childhood, but it's a learned behavior, which means that it can be unlearned. Anything that's learned can be unlearned. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it takes a different amount of time for each individual person. But one thing I have noticed with me and the people that I've worked with is, we call them like negative self-schemas or conditions of worth. And it's, these beliefs we have about ourselves which impact on the decisions we make. How you go about changing your self-esteem is by doing one small thing every day to look at your strengths. Celebrating the small wins, the tiny wins. Like getting up and you're making your bed every day and you're keeping your place clean, and you're speaking to one person every day, or you're going out for a walk every day. Celebrate it. You've done something positive. And then once you get into the practice of celebrating something small and looking for a strength, and you do it over a period of time, it just becomes more easier and easier and easier. And I always say practice makes progress, and progress is good.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard that the newest research out there is kind of showing that it can take up to 60 days to build a good habit.
Yeah, they say for it to be really ingrained, it's 90 days.
90.
It's a good 3 months, but to start it off is 14 days. Just keep it consistent, a few weeks, and then something clicks. Your neural pathways change and start to fuse up, and the magic starts to sparkle, and then you're on your way. But consistency, keep doing it every day.
Yeah.
Just small things every day.
And what's a habit that you do every day that you celebrate?
Yeah. So I don't know whether you've heard of a guy called Hal Elrod.
No.
He wrote a book called The Miracle Morning.
Oh, okay.
So he works on the concept of savers, the word savers. So S is for silence, which is where I do meditation.
Yeah.
A is for affirmations. B is for visualization. So visualizing how the day is going to go, visualizing goals. E is for exercise. R is for reading. And then the last S is for scribing. And that's where I write down my gratitudes. So I do that every morning, except for the last S. I do that before I go to bed. So I've kind of adapted it a little bit, but I do that every day.
Okay. And how long does that take you? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. So I get up at 5:30. in the gym for 6:15 and I'm home by 7:20 in the morning.
Okay.
So you
Wow.
put it all in, because when you think of the silence, affirmation, and visualization, you can do them all together
Yeah.
in your meditation.
Okay.
Affirmations you do all day. It's when you tell affirmations, for those people who don't know, they are positive references made about yourself, and they generally start with I am. So I am brave, I am smart, I am confident.
Yeah.
Saying those things to yourself throughout the day.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I've done a lot of work on myself over the years, and I have to say that I do almost all of no, maybe I do all of those things actually, because I need to work on the visualization part for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do the exercise in the morning, the silence. Um, I'm doing some stretches. I could probably work on the reading as well. Yeah, that's something. But I guess that always happens, right? It's like you're building parts of these habits in the mornings,
Yeah.
and you can always add to them.
Yeah. And you
Mhm.
don't always have to do it of a morning. I mean, sometimes if I don't get to pull the book out of a morning, I'll grab a 15 minutes and do a little bit of reading in the afternoon or of an evening. As long as I do savers in the day, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Start the meditation, because we're human beings and we've got lives to live, and sleep in and all those things,
Yeah,
you know. So we have to make it, as long as we're doing it each day and we're doing it consistently,
yeah.
then it will take off. It will.
But it does probably help to do it at the same time every day, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A morning routine is a really, really good routine to have. Even if, like Hal says in the book, when you get up in the morning, just make your bed. Just make that morning routine. Just make your bed. Just do something there, I'm up and I'm ready for the day.
Yeah, it really sets the tone for the day. Yeah, absolutely. I do this with my clients in terms of building new food habits.
Yes.
Because I think that's really important. If you are, for example, when you wake up in the morning, drink some water.
Yeah.
That's already starting to hydrate you.
Yeah.
It's just gonna like bring a lot of fluid to your brain
Yeah.
through your blood, help wake you up.
I was
So
gonna say, yeah, water helps to wake your body up, doesn't it? And it also kickstarts your metabolism as well. Which not a
yeah.
lot of people know that, do they? If you drink water
Mm,
and you get up in the morning, that can actually kickstart your metabolism.
yeah, yeah. And nowadays, when the light is not so much in the morning, I mean it's slowly improving. It's really good to turn on your lights straight away so that you start getting and open your curtains and even step outside straight away.
Yeah.
Because what you do then is you're getting a lot of fresh air, but mostly you get light into your eyes, which leads to your brain and which helps turn on the serotonin and turn
Yeah.
off the melatonin.
Yes.
So it helps you wake up faster.
Absolutely. No, it's
Yeah.
good. And it's like you say, it all incorporates into good mental health.
Yeah.
When you've got a routine, even something so small as getting up, making the bed and going to get yourself a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
That just when you start your day off in a positive way, the
Mm.
rest of your day flows really nice and you feel good. And if
Yeah.
you feel good, then you're going to smile a lot more, which then releases all your endorphins. Just add to it. It is good. It's part of your mental health. It's good.
Yeah. I don't know if you have had this, but like, have you watched people on the street and as they walk past each other, if one person is smiling, it starts a chain reaction because someone else will see it and they start smiling, and then someone else sees that and they start smiling,
It's infectious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smiling is infectious. Laughing is so infectious as well. I remember
Yeah.
watching a video on YouTube. I can't even remember it, but a guy was watching something on he was on a train and he was watching something on his iPad or his telephone, and he was really belly laughing.
Oh, great.
And someone else was like looking, and I'm smiling thinking of it because the whole train was in uproar. Just this guy who was laughing, and it's like it really is infectious.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant. So
We should
good.
do more of it.
Yeah. Well, when I lived in the UK, I found a company that was doing these laughing classes, like workshops,
Oh,
where
wow.
you go there and of course in the beginning you start, it's like a fake laugh, right?
Yeah.
But you're forcing the laugh. But as you do this, like, you know, you realize how silly you sound and you start laughing at yourself, and or you're laughing at how someone's reacting, and then eventually it becomes a real laugh.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and they do this as a sort of therapy.
Yeah. I've heard of laughing therapy and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Well, do you know what? If it works for some people, then why not? Like
Yeah.
I said in the beginning, we are all unique and we have to find our own way. And if laughing therapy is your way, then go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to do what works for you.
Yeah. And so Martine, you also work at the University of Liverpool. What are you doing there?
Yeah. Well, they've just recently commissioned me to do some workshops for the students because there's been research and studies and things done about when students are just starting out, and it's a whole new world for them when they've moved out of home, or they've come out of college, or they've come from schools, because some of them do sixth form at school, and they then go into university life and think it's going to be all a barrel of laughs and easy and fun, and then it hits home just how much work they've got to do, and they've really got, and so it's kind of like a shock to the system, and a lot of students are suffering with self-esteem and confidence.
Mm.
So the University of Liverpool have recognised this, and they've brought me in to run some workshops for their students to help them.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a really positive move, and it helps with mental health as well, because
Yeah.
while self-esteem is not, and I have to think, it's not a mental health illness, but it can be a symptom of
Mm-hmm.
the thing, and it can lead to, if it's not.
Definitely.
So I think the University of Liverpool have caught on there. We need to do something for our students, and I guess I just came at the right time to say, hey, I run workshops on self-esteem and confidence.
Oh,
And,
fantastic.
yeah, so it's going well.
Yeah, that's good. And so if anybody here listening wants to find you, how can they find you? Where do they start?
Yeah. The easiest place to start is, because I'm still behind the times and I've not got my website yet. Linktree. Everything is on Linktree. So if you just Google Linktree/RSG success. So RSG stands for Ready, Set, Go. But I'm on Instagram. The handle's at RSG Success. I'm on Twitter with the same handle. Facebook as Ready, Set, Go 2020. So yeah, but the best one is Linktree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Linktree.
And we'll put all those links below the YouTube video here, and also in the email that we're going to send out afterwards. So it'll be quite easy to find you.
Yeah.
In all sorts of manners. And of course, when you do get your website, I'll add that to the YouTube channel as well.
It's so easy having a Linktree. I just say, yeah, just go there.
Yeah, works. It works. And Instagram is so visual. We see you doing videos there all the time.
Yeah.
They're really good.
People connect with you more through a video, and I just keep it really short as well. I always do like 5 signs and symptoms, and then 5 tips.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of those videos recently, so it's really useful. And you have something to give away to everyone.
Yes, I do. So as part of my way of saying thank you for attending today, I have developed a 14 days of self-esteem workbook. It's really short tasks to do each day, and they take 5 minutes, if that. And I'm just looking at it now. So on day 1, the first task is to write down 5 positive affirmations about yourself, and then to start with I am, and then once you've written those 5, then that's it. That's your task done for the day, and then all you do is you just say them to yourself every day. And then on day 2, you just name 3 people whose lives are made better because you're in there. So 3 people who value you. And it's a way over 14 days of getting you to really take a look at yourself and your strength.
That's so nice. That's going to
So
be really powerful.
yeah, it is nice and it does work. And it's to remember as well is, to form a habit, the starting point is consistency after 14 days. But then if they carry that on after the 14 days to the 90 days, it becomes unconscious. It becomes
Yeah.
natural.
And easier, right? Because you might think something is hard work in the beginning, but
Yeah.
when you build a habit, you do it without thinking.
Yeah. My biggest one was affirmations.
Yeah.
I felt so silly doing this. I was like, oh God, do I have to talk to myself again and tell myself I'm great? And I mean, it's just like, oh, and it was really difficult. Even just saying to myself in the mirror, I love myself. It was just like I battled with myself. And it took me a long time to really believe, but I didn't stop saying it until I believed it. And that's the difference. Even if you believe it, keep going,
Yeah.
because eventually you will.
Yeah. I mean, when you're young and your parents say to you, oh, you're doing really well, good for you, then you might not think it in the beginning, but the more they say it, the more you believe it. Right?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And the thing is when we're children, if you were to say to a 5-year-old, you're silly, you're silly, you're silly, you're silly, they believe that they are.
Yeah.
Say to another 5-year-old, you're great, you're great, you're great, they believe that they're great.
Yeah.
And it's doing the same thing as an adult, because we do it to ourselves all the time.
Yeah. Does it help if you imagine yourself as a child when you tell yourself these things?
It can do.
Yeah.
I suppose that is down to each individual person, whether they find it easier regressing and going back to childhood and thinking times, or for me, it was more important to look at me as who I was in that moment,
Yeah.
who I wanted to be, what my ideal version of me was. So I'd done a lot of work on the self-concept about how I see myself now and how I see and want to be in the future.
Yeah.
And so my affirmations were tailored around my future self.
Oh yeah. So you're like aiming for something and telling yourself that that's what you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the brain can't differentiate between reality and fantasy. It doesn't know. So if you keep telling it something's real, you believe
Yeah. 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 That's
it.
great. Which helps with the visualization too, then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And should you say the affirmations out loud or can they be in your head?
Either.
Okay. Whatever works.
Yeah. Whatever works for you, as long as you're saying them. That's the main thing.
Okay.
It's got more power if you say it out loud, because you're hearing yourself as well.
True.
You're hearing your own voice. But if you want to start off by just saying them in your mind and then building up to saying them out loud and then building up to saying them out loud in the mirror.
Oh yeah. Looking yourself in the eye while you're saying it.
Absolutely.
Oh, confronting.
Just build up to that one.
Yeah. I guess you could also record yourself and then play it back. Or
You can do, yeah.
Yeah.
You can do whatever suits you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that's excellent. So we'll be sending that out by email when we send out the email, which will come in the next couple of days when we've finished editing the video. And yeah, Martine, thanks so much for being here. It's been really great.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks to everyone that tunes in now and also later watches this on the YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.